Joe Biden has never had any involvement or any direct or indirect financial interest in those activities. None. Do you take that at face value, Jessica?
Yeah. You shouldn't go before a committee and tell lies, and I don't expect that James Biden is doing that. I don't know why Jim Comer and Jim Jordan thought that perhaps it was going to be Joe Biden's brother that brought him down. But this is the path that they've chosen to take. And honestly, I'm surprised that they have this high of a threshold for humiliation. Every witness that they have called has decimated their arguments, from Devin Archer to Peter Schwerin to Marvin Young. And then we have the guy behind the Holy Grail document, the 1023, Alexander Smirnov, who's found that he had lied, right, about the charges, the $5 million that went to both of them. And then it gets even better. Not only did he lie, he was lying because the Russians were feeding him the disinformation. It's so embarrassing.
The implosion of James Comer and Jim Jordan's investigation into the Bidens should be talked about as many times as those guys went on cable news shows to promote their flimsy accusations. They're scrambling for new ways to declare that they have airtight evidence that they're unwilling to reveal. But the resident Democrat over at Fox News, Jessica Tarlov, described it best as embarrassing.
Tony Bobulinski testified before the committee and said the only reason any of these international business transactions took place, with tens of millions of dollars flowing directly to the Biden family, was because Joe Biden was in high office. The Biden family business was Joe Biden, period. What do you say?
Well, I say that the Senate themselves, including Senate Republicans, have not found Tony Bobulinski to be credible. So he gives a great cable news interview. I understand it's very compelling for people who want to believe that Joe Biden is actually a Gotti, a mob boss. But he doesn't have a ton of credibility. The people who do have credibility, like Devin Archer, for instance, have completely blown a hole through that argument. He's talked about the phone calls. He's talked about the money. Peter Schwerin handled the books. And if you want to talk about loans, we'll see if there was documentation. I don't know a lot of family members who say, I'll lend you some money. We got to get a good interest rate on this, make sure that I'm paid back in time. And he did pay him back almost immediately also. It's like we're going to hear about Hunter Biden's loan for a car that he paid back.
Anchor John Roberts must not watch Fox's The Five much, where Tarlov regularly comes with prepared arguments that address these predictable pushback arguments from her co-hosts. It's a last gasp from Republican supporters that don't want to believe that House members are solely working for Donald Trump to regain the White House and skirt all responsibility from his illegal activities. But they're somehow forgetting the fact that Jordan and Comer spent a year building their public case around these flimsy witnesses.
Do you take back what you said about the president's involvement in a bribery scheme now that Alexander Smirnov is proven to have made it up and it was based off Russian intelligence?
Doesn't change the four fundamental facts. Hunter Biden was put on the board of Burisma, gets paid $1 million a year.
You said the 1023 is the most corroborating piece of information you have.
It corroborates, but it doesn't change those fundamental facts. So now
but it's not true.
Well, so okay, so the FBI told us that this source was 14 years. This source was a paid source by the FBI. When we were trying to get the 1023, they told us, oh, this could jeopardize national security, the safety of this source. Didn't want to release it, and now they're saying, oh, he gave false information. The other thing, there's a story out today. Scott Brady, the U.S. attorney, did check the travel records of this confidential human source and found that he was at those places he said he was. So,
but your promotion of a bribery scheme was false.
Not at all. We're looking at the four facts I just gave you. Those facts are true. Absolutely true. But Joe Biden bragged about it.
But what Smirnov said is not true. Would you concede that?
Well, yeah, that's what the FBI is saying.
It might be best to just say that they were played by the source that they claimed held the keys to their devastating revelations and thank their colleagues, both Democratic and Republican, that didn't jump on board. But learning from their mistakes is something politically motivated people don't do well. So denials of what we've seen for more than a year is the next step. And if that doesn't work, they'll just say they were joking.
This whole thing reeks, and I hope that we get all the information. If Joe Biden's clean, as an American, I want to know that. But I do think we have to do a deep dive into what's happening here inside the Biden administration.
Yeah, and Sean, this did not all center around Smirnov's testimony. I just want to make that point as well.
No, but
Sean,
it was
Jessica,
foundational.
we gotta go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you both.
Have a great day.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's as much an embarrassment for the FBI as well.
It's obvious redirection in order to avoid admitting either a series of huge mistakes or their plan to absolve Trump of his criminal proceedings by claiming Biden has the same issues. By the way, Biden has issues. They don't even have to focus on this. But Tarlov made sure to break down what all of this looks like now, which is a huge waste of time and resources tailor-made for Trump to benefit from.
What we're really coming down
Jessica.
to is that we're going to be discussing the difference between blowing lines of cocaine or sawdust. This is a waste of the American people's time and our dollars to be doing this, and Republicans will be punished for it.
Jessica, rich brothers don't borrow money from poor brothers.